Sunday, June the 19th, 2011, and I'm down in Oxfordshire, Cholsey, doing the 14 miles to Goring. That's free walk 49. Not a bad day today, wedged in between a rainy day yesterday and potentially a rainy day tomorrow. So fingers crossed those grey looking clouds up there don't open up, as my last walk out was a rain drenched one 2 weeks ago. Didn't walk last week, and I'm still having issues uploading to YouTube. Managed to get around that though by compressing the video, but that results in poorer quality. I suspect the reason might be that I'm only allowed to upload one HD video a week, so I'll work on that premise and see what happens. Anyway, it's 11:15, got 14 miles to do, hoping to be on the 17:27 back, so let's get cracking. Well, just up there amongst the trees is a steam train, the Birkenhead. Wonder if I should just nip back to the station and get a better view if I can. Just pulled in. Apparently part of the Cholsey and Moulsford railway. All the old furnace in there. Yeah, this is rather fortuitous. Right place, right time for a change. Well, according to this information board, it's all about Father's Day. So there you go, that's why there's a Father's Day special running today.
Not little stops, Lawrence, they don't just stop, just not little ones like
Lovely.
They just stop at some, they just stop at
So, that was very fortuitous. Just 1 minute from the railway station, under the railway bridge, and we're out into open countryside. Lovely. Okay, about 1,000 metres in, and the scenery is starting to improve again already. Weather's picking up as well, so all set for a good walk by the looks of it. Fingers crossed anyway. Looks like the calves haven't worked out the weather law yet. Parents are all stood up, whereas the youngsters are still sitting down on the hole. So, hope the parents are right. It's got grey again. It's only 5 minutes after the last shot. Paragraph 4, pretty easy walk-in now for 1.7k. Despite all the rain we've had recently, still pretty dry underfoot, so could do with another week's worth by the looks of it. Wind's picking up. Interesting. Came through Baker Street this morning on the Jubilee line. Anyway, we're headed up that way towards the village, passing through the village of Aston Tirrold. All Saints Aston Thorpe Church. The view from paragraph 6 around coordinates 55.3, 85.9. Some old bombers up there in the sky as well. Don't know if they're visible. Bryce Norton not being far away. No, can't get them. Anyway, what a fantastic cloud that is. Still not raining, luckily. Interesting, walking along this bridleway to Blewbury for lunch, and I come across this horse equivalent of a gator by the looks of it. Looks like it's meant to protect the hoof. Must have fallen off at some point. Someone's left it on the fence post there. Great collection of thistles in there. Hence the goldfinches are absolutely loving that. They're all around me in the background. Look at that delightful colour. Beautiful. Very pleasant walking, still relatively simple and still bone dry underfoot. Talking of colours, what a lovely splash of red over there. Poppies everywhere. Contrasts well with that black cloud. Ahead of me, the village of Blewbury, just as well because I'm famished. And over on the right, a rather ugly power station. Not sure which one that is, but irrelevant really. An eyesore. Okay, 5 to 1, perfect timing, and the walk takes me into the churchyard of St Michael's at Blewbury, and this information board here tells us that it's a Saxon church with Norman additions. So there it is. As I say, perfect that we passed it prior to the recommended pub, because I don't use the pubs very often. Apparently that church tower holds 8 bells. Still regular services here, as evidenced by that car departing. And let's see if I can find a seat. Well, there's a headstone and a half, made of wood, in memory of George Knapp. Died in 1818. This churchyard is no longer used, so there might have been any seats around. I might have to use this old shelter here, or the old entrance actually. Confirmation of the time. Okay, so yeah, this must be the Saxon entrance. Very antique looking. Anyway, provides me with a good respite. Get here a couple of hours later, and there's teas in the church between 3 and 5 on Sundays between May and September. .8 miles I've done so far according to my pedometer, so the bulk of this walk is done after lunch. Probably around another 9 miles to go. Okay, one final shot of St Michael's. It's 1:30. Lunch has been had. Lovely. For future reference, if I ever do this walk again, there's a bench next to the small green and a very interesting footpath sign there. Indicating the various residences in this area. A rather interesting walkway as we approach the suggested lunchtime pub, the Red Lion. Well, this is the suggested lunchtime stop, the Red Lion, which is a Breakspear pub. I've checked round the back, there's a nice garden. Just round that way. Very nice thatched wall that was. Bizarre. Yet another death on my walks. Poor little goldfinch that is, believe it or not. As part of the National Gardens scheme, there's a number of gardens open in the village. A number of the properties are thatched as well. Delightful little village this is actually. This is the track leaving Blewbury, heading towards Woodway. As it's not muddy underfoot, I shall continue up this tunnel as opposed to taking the alternative version on my left here, up those steps. Well, 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 I'm now stood next to one of those fields of poppies. What a lovely colour. Masses of them. Looking back towards Blewbury down there. Delightful. By contrast, on the other side, not so interesting. Now at the part of the 1.4k where the path levels out, and as you can hear in the background, definite skylark territory. I hope you can hear that and not the wind. The gap in the fence and the conifer trees in the distance that you keep to the right of. Lovely sound of skylarks there. Next to what appears to be a gallop. There's a number of those around this area. Not far from Newbury, I guess. Just come to notice as we're walking beside these conifers here that this field of wheat is abysmally short. Barely comes up to my knee, unless that's the way they've genetically modified it, but because the heads look pretty good, but otherwise, as I say, doesn't look very strong otherwise. where I was a moment ago, at around 150 metres, 450 foot above sea level. Some kind of wild apple there, opposite the redundant metal field gate mentioned in the text. And I was reading this morning on the way down here that apparently there's enough varieties of apple in England, or the UK, to enable us to eat a different one for every day of the year over 6 years. That's amazing, isn't it? Bit incredible to believe that, but that was the story. And yet we only seem to import Gala, Golden Delicious and a few other varieties. This is the remnants of Lower Chance Farm buildings. Plenty of chaffinches around me by the sounds of it. Because of the way the cloud is in the backdrop there, can't make out what that is. And I'm at the maximum of my range here. If I get any closer, it'll fly off. Not a chaffinch, which is what I thought it was originally. The song's a bit different. Clearly singing to his mate behind me. There you go. Have to check that one out. So here we are, merging with the Ridgeway, which we now follow for the next 3 km. Very pleased to see that motorised transport is banned during the winter months. So according to this sign here, 4.1 miles to go. And that will be familiar territory because we walked up that way a few months ago doing the Goring circular. Some kind of running race on today. Past a number of runners on this path. Rather pleasant view from a point near Warren Farm on the map. Streatley Warren being the place I tried to cross last time I did a Goring circular. I think that was back in March. Without any luck. Another shot as we took before of Thurl Down. And here on my right, Streatley Warren. Yeah, 3 months ago I think I was here. Obviously you can't cross here now officially because of the bird nesting season. So, whereas last time I came up from the Ridgeway there, this time we're going this way. The text refers to a stile, but it's now a metal gate, and we're actually going to go across Thurl Down. So that's interesting because it'll be a different perspective. Yeah, so we're now entering the Wellbarn estate. Very pleasant walking now through Unhill Wood, marked on the map. Clearly signposted. Delightful. Lovely way to finish the day. Plethora of birdsong. Great. So, having exited Unhill Wood, this is the view from Moulsford Downs, following the fenced in footpath here. An approximate easterly view. About 150 metres again up here. Still fairly easy walking underfoot. Looking over towards Ham Wood and Cow Common, marked on the map. Lovely greens again over there. Now in the valley bottom, following this footpath along it. Yeah, I believe this is actually called Unhill Bottom, not uphill, as I just mentioned up in that wood a minute ago. But I'm walking along this very pleasant valley floor. Farmer's just been crop spraying, unbelievably. Quite an aroma walking across this barley field. And the onward journey is through this gap in the hedge and along the valley floor. Over there somewhere, I guess. Delightful. Walking through this vast expanse of barley. It's great the way the wind catches it, moves it in waves. I'm sure if the camera picks that up. Okay, just crossed the A417, leaving Starville Farm over there behind me. And the scenery is starting to change a bit now, as the downs up there diminish now, dropping quite clearly, and it's starting to level out as we approach the Thames. Moulsford being only a mile further on now. Very interesting caterpillar there. If I remember correctly, that might be the caterpillar for the Red Admiral or the Peacock. Can you remember? Nice colour anyway. So, down at the Beetle and Wedge, Moulsford. Now about to follow the Thames Path back to Goring. Very pleasant Thames side walking. That noise in the background I think is young coots. Certainly no shortage of water. Water level's pretty good, as you can see there, right next to the path. Goring Yacht Club, next to a nice looking pub there. So here we are at Streatley. The eastern and western bridges from a different angle this time. Water level here is very high. Sun's out, delightful. There's a parish church of St Mary again, and as you can see from the time, there's no way I'm going to get to 17:27. So because it's now a very pleasant afternoon, might as well slow down a bit and get a cup of tea somewhere. Nice cup of Earl Grey. Classic Thames side view. That's the possible tea stop if you're interested. That's looking back at the hill I was up a couple of months back. And the view from the Eastern Bridge. And the view southwards. Interesting, as I said before, if I followed that path all the way back to Wapping, about 60 mile I should think. So it's just coming up to 6 o'clock. Missed the train by several minutes. Leaves at 1/2 the hour, so I've got half hour to go. Had a look round Goring. So that was a very pleasant walk. Mixture of downland, riverside walking, a little bit of woodland in there as well. Easy going, underfoot. Could be potentially slippery after rain in places, but generally speaking, very nice 14 miles. Although as usual, my pedometer tells me that I've done 16.5 miles and burnt off 6,000 calories. So that's free walk 49 complete.